Okay. I will not lie to you. This was weirdly one of the hardest theories I've had to put together. Holy shit. Hey, so, weirdly enough, this was one of the most requested videos for my channel on my latest poll, and I want to be honest, I wasn't expecting it, nor did I really know how I was going to explain it. At least till now. I wouldn't be making this if I didn't know how to now, lol. So, as requested, today we are going to be getting into just how big Equestria was, and how big, or small, it seems to be now. And pinpoint where these new locations might be now in Equestria, thanks to some clues that were given throughout the movie. We will be naming some other rather old but important locations and seeing what stayed and what didn't. So, to the newbies out there, let me explain. I'm sure by now everyone is aware of the large bubble, or invisibubble, that Misty calls it, surrounding Equestrian now, right? And it never was there before? From this flashback, we can see that it is actually rather small compared to the actual Equestrian map most fans are used to. Even in official map terms, it's small. At least, that's what it looks like. Though we are only seeing this as a flashback story told by Misty, and this is probably all they know. So, would that mean other parts of Equestria are surrounded by this bubble? Before G5 came around, there were other locations like Las Pegasus, Manhattan, Appaloosa, Rockville, the Crystal Empire, and many, many more locations in Equestria, some of which didn't have ponies living in it. So we must first take into consideration what happened to those locations before these three came to be. Did some ponies migrate to these newer locations? Did some larger areas still stay around but evolved differently? Are they in areas also contained in this bubble? Well, according to Misty's story of what she told, it appears that it didn't cover a whole lot of the land. Only the three main locations where the crystals were supposedly guarded are inside and contained within this bubble. Maybe some ponies can travel inside and outside the bubble at will, except for Opaline, of course, since this bubble is to solely keep her out. Well, until she found that weird connection with the together trees. I'm not getting into that right now. So, is there a power within this bubble that the rest of Equestria doesn't have? Or is this bubble really to just keep the pony safe from Opaline? After taking some time to think about it, I feel like the other places could live outside of this bubble, like Opaline's castle and the Dragonlands, and other normal ponies can go in and outside the bubble as they please, just like how Misty has to get from Opaline's castle to Maritime Bay. It's just these three locations that are contained within this bubble, so I feel like it is just to solely protect this portion, as it does contain the free crystals that holds most, if not the majority, of the magic at this point. Probably a decision made by Twilight, the Spirit, or even both. I've already explained that before, kind of. The bubble in question, though, doesn't seem very big, thus leaving the question of if this bubble contains magic within it, or there's other types of magic that can also be used outside the bubble. With the looks of how Misty and Opaline can still use their magic outside the bubble after the magic was restored, it's safe to say that yes, ponies can use this magic outside of the bubble. It also apparently affected the dragons in the Dragonlands to eventually wake them back up, which is exactly what Opaline has been waiting for. So it doesn't really matter that much if the other locations were in here, since the Invisibubble protects the crystals that woke up the dragons again and protects them from Opaline's grasp to gain even more power along with her dragon fire. She was extremely weak after she was defeated and outcasted from Equestria. It had to take the magic to come back to have any of this set into motion to begin with. Especially with, Sparky being a thing. That was the start she needed. I'm gonna be honest, Opaline's just really lazy. After she got that bit of dragon fire from Sparky, she could have just went all out, because she seemed powerful enough to do so. I don't know what her problem is. Again, sorry if this is off topic for the video title, however, this still needs to be explained in order to realize what this bubble is really for. But now the question is, where are these locations on the Equestrian map, and could there be other locations that could still be around? In my personal viewing, I've seen quite a lot of theories that put the locations in places that don't seem all that correct. Even in my first theory, ironically enough, didn't get it right. Well, not entirely. Yes, by the way, that is my first ever official theory that I've really posted. And yes, it was on Reddit. I didn't make videos at the time, so instead I just made a Reddit post about it. Anyways, after doing some hard thinking with some members in my Discord, as well as some time to myself, I think I have learned where these locations actually are. And yes, we're bringing back the tree for this once more, because god damn it, I am not letting it die! I'm sure the majority of you watching me know this point already, but there are probably new viewers that are watching this, so I'm gonna explain this again. In the movie, A New Generation, the main five walk through this large flower field with a large pink tree in the middle of it. Supposed middle, at least. That tree, said by directors, is supposed to be the remains of the Treehouse of Harmony, which evolved from the original Tree of Harmony after it was destroyed by King Sombra, brought back to life by the School 6 in G4 during its end season. The Treehouse of Harmony grew from below the Everypony Castle, or the old castle of the two sisters, to right smack dab in the middle of it. To me, I feel like there may be some walls that were removed around the treehouse to just have it be the treehouse sitting there, which is why the surrounding area now is so bare. I don't know, because there was a scene in the final song of G4 where it may look like they rebuilt the walls that could be around the treehouse. I don't know, maybe they took them down eventually, or just started to get rusty and eventually just became dust, I don't know. My point is, I feel like this is in the middle of these three locations. Since Sunny does mention that being on her map, and from the looks of the G5 map for the movie, which isn't much, but it's something for now, they seem to have needed to go upwards from where they were going to get to Bridlewood. Reminder, they did walk from Zephyr Heights to get to Bridlewood at this point, crossing a broken bridge by using a tree that Izzy pecked down with her horn to get across it. Everyone knows what that bridge is at this point. They did end up stopping at some rocks midway after passing the bridge. Doesn't show that anymore on the map, but I'm gonna assume it's somewhere in between anyway, because we do not have a full geographical Google map thing for this version of the Equestrian map, so we're just gonna work with what we have. Anyways, the point is, this very tree is in the middle of all three of these locations, and quite possibly in the middle of this bubble. Maybe this tree and the together trees, which yes, I am saying that they are connected to each other, impacted the bubble and strengthened it in some way. Until the magic vanished. It's a miracle that the wishing tree is still standing, most likely because of this wishing star, which I assume gave it its new name and purpose. Other than that, I can take a very great guess as to where these locations may be, since the ruins itself is on the Equestrian map. And so, our mystery begins. Right here, in the middle. On to the locations. First up, Zephyr Heights. This one is a little easier to explain, as from when I used the map, they appeared to have landed on Rambling Rock Ridge, which does make sense. They are a bunch of mountains that are close to Ponyville, which is probably where they built the new area for Equestria on behalf of the Pegasi. But you know, we are still unsure as to exactly why they made this in the first place. It is obvious that Zephyr Heights did have some sort of station for other pony kinds to visit. That can explain why Elderflower still mentions her going to Zephyr Heights when she was still a filly. Yeah, I bet you probably forgot about that. I did for a bit till now. Unless these are some mountains around this area, Rambling Rock Ridge seems to be our best bet as to where Zephyr Heights is now, and over time, it just became a new home for the Pegasi over the years as the magic started to fade. Now for Bridlewood. This was a bit more tricky, and eventually this is where I stopped using the G5 maps entirely, as I cannot rely on it, as well as the other maps given, to really justify where these locations are. The only location it seemed to pin down really well is Zephyr Heights. Bridlewood, on the other hand, took over more Ponyville than anything, and truthfully, I don't think we have a case of the Everfree Forest overtaking Ponyville. Bridlewood existed during Zephyr Heights time, as it's shown to be a tourist spot in the Zephyr Heights station. Maybe it grew more next to Ponyville at the time, as something was definitely done about the Everfree Forest somewhere down the line. Maybe Twilight, the Spirit, or some other force helped turn the Everfree Forest into Bridlewood. And the Everfree Forest's magic, well, became a part of the natural weather system, and the ecosystem as a whole. No longer needed for the Pegasi to do their job. Yeah, remember my whole weather theory thing? Yeah, I'm scratching that whole fucking idea. As a very cool and neat idea of there being a weather machine again, that being a very neat idea, I think the Everfree Forest's magic extended and expanded beyond just the Everfree Forest somehow. I'm saving that whole explanation for another video, though I feel like I just explained it now, I don't know. Hi, future me here. I forgot to explain how the Everfree Forest works, so let me just explain it in this one small clip from the show itself.
The Everfree Forest just ain't natural. The plants grow, animals care for themselves, and the clouds move all on their own.
Basically, they're saying that the Everfree Forest is natural, and to them, that's unnatural because of the jobs they have to do to keep their part of the earth going. And to me, that tells me that it has some sort of magic within this forest that makes it all natural. Or it's just, natural like the actual earth we live in now. But either way, that's the whole point here. Okay, bye. Either way, I feel like Bridlewood is more close to Ponyville than it is overtaking it. Maybe the forest did end up gobbling some parts of Ponyville after years passed, but that's still just speculation. Now, for Maritime Bay. This was the hardest part. Honestly, this is where I really stopped using the G5 maps, because it's very, very hard to put together with the map alone. You see, with the movie map, I had to turn it a little bit so then the north was facing the right way, and it ended up looking wrong. Very wrong, actually. But then, I used the other two maps, which had the compass up correctly, but even then, that didn't seem to work. So, I instead just came up with my own conclusion as to where Maritime Bay really is. I had a call in my Discord to figure out where Maritime Bay may take its stand. While I was thinking it's somewhere above Appaloosa, someone suggested to me that it may be near Applewood instead, or Los Pegasus, which is relatively close to the water. So I put Maritime Bay on my map layout to be in 3 possible locations. Still really unsure as to where the definitive answer could be though. But overall I am more confident with this theory. Now, what about Opaline's castle? Well, it appears to have grown over an edge of water, whether that be a large mucky river or a part of another ocean is unsure. Hi, fuck, future me here again. About that. I'm taking a closer look at this image. What is this? That's a river! I think my brain thought that it was a full-on body of water connected to the ocean, but I was wrong, heavily wrong. Thank God, actually, I was wrong. So this whole fucking line here, that's a river, and Opaline's castle just so happens to be on the cliff right above a river, I think I must have mistook that because of clips like this.
Do we really have to drop Sparky into the water, Opaline?
So, yeah, my bad, sorry. We know about the fact that the tree Opaline's castle is grown is another type of together tree. How does she grow it? I don't know, I'm not getting into the details. Anyway, it seems to be close to Maritime Bay, looking to be right above it on this map shown here. Which could be why Misty could get to it so easily. Not much else to add there but that. It seems like a rather long walking distance, but, you know, you can still get to there pretty easily. And now for the other points that really drive this home until we get to the bad parts. I want to point out the comics. Not only do they find the remains of Canterlot, they also find Fluttershy's shed, so I think that point is taken. And about the forest eventually gobbling up Ponyville? Maybe! Yeah, maybe! That seems to be more likely now that I think of it. Also, there's a comic where Izzy finds this treehouse that could be the Cutie Mark Crusaders treehouse, but again, simple speculation, it doesn't really look like it anyway. Now, all of this would just slowly and perfectly fall into place if it wasn't for one thing. The water. Literally, the only issue with this whole theory is the large amount of water that surrounds Maritime Bay. From this map here, we can see a lot of the water below this whole area, even. And the tip where the lighthouse is, or Bright House, is pointing downward. And the compass is pointing in the same direction as the G4 map. But there's no water here! Unless... Did Equestria split in two? Or was there a flood of water for some reason? Speaking of which, reminder, drink water. Do it, because I'm choking a lung out here. At the moment, you could say that there's no other explanation besides this. You could say that it's on an edge where Las Pegasus is, but that's more pointed to the side, not down. So, the only explanations are either there was a flood of water that came, or the land completely split in two.
Probably because of all the fire Opaline has.
Or the G5 map compass directions aren't consistent, and the ocean is somewhere in the other direction. That's the only thing I could possibly come up with. You know, speaking of fire, what about the Dragonlands? We got this new map for the new Dragonlands area, and, well, huh? Where do I put this? It looks to be close near the tip of the cliff where the lighthouse sits, but like... where? Unless we're talking about a portal here that leads to this? Why are the Dragonlands this close? And also, how did Opaline get there, too? Does she also have a portal to it? Does her castle just really sit that close by? What's going on? Okay, you know what? I'm not even gonna include the Dragonlands until next chapter comes out. I really ain't gonna conclude it with what I got here now. So, anyway, in terms of the size of Equestria now, it looks rather small. Maybe because there's no mentions of the other locations existing yet, which I hope we get to, because who knows? Maybe ponies from those locations also visit these areas before the split. With the train system still being a possible thing, maybe ponies from other locations like Manhattan make it into this place, I don't know. But in this generation, it seems to be a lot smaller than it was 300 years back. Especially when you consider the bubble size. But let's be real here, we can only assume this because of the fact that we only know of these ponies in these lands. So there could be a large possibility that the other towns still do exist, just aren't really in the loop. 300 years can really make you forget a lot, depending on the pony, I guess. So, for now, because it's easier to assume that the G5 compasses are just inconsistent, this is our new Equestria, everyone! Way to go, writing and artist team! You made my fucking head fry over this shit! Fuck! Anyways, I think that does it for this theory. This was a big one to cover, and a struggle to put together. However, I am proud of the results regardless. Let me know what you think of this down in the comments. Do you think this holds up? Is there more I could be missing? You know the drill. Let me know, and maybe you can even prove me wrong. Anyway, I've been Jesse Greenheart. Subscribe, like, comment, join my Discord. I'll see you all in the next one. Cheers.
What need we have met when we bled in eternity?